I had a whole other video planned for today, but Valve went and did what they do best, releasing a massive, crazy huge change to Steam after I finished my video for Friday, and I didn't have time to update the news video. There's also been some big ROG Ally news, so we're going to be talking about the new Steam Deck desktop beta UI as well as ROG Ally news in this extra special Steam Deck news video. That's right, it's Steam Deck news time on a Monday. First up, there are two bits of ROG Ally news. First, ASUS has announced the launch day of the Ally, which is Thursday, May 11th at 10 a.m. Eastern. This is some impressive turnaround for a device they announced only back on April Fool's Day. It'll have been 40 days from announcement to launch, and we still don't have an official price. But we do know that we're going to have a launch day event featuring a keynote from Sean Yen, who is the product management director at ASUS, and he's also going to be a panelist alongside Royan Sones, the senior vice president of Xbox hardware, and Frank Azer, the chief architect of gaming solutions at AMD. The panel is titled "The Future of Gaming is Handheld," and it's moderated by ROG Pulse host Jake Kalinsky. Now, I'm curious just what Xbox has to do with any of this. Will Microsoft be announcing Windows Series X, an Xbox-flavored Windows build specifically for handhelds? Will Microsoft be subsidizing the cost of the hardware in order to undermine the Steam Deck? Only time will tell. Either way, I'm excited to watch not only this panel, but also how Valve responds to it. But next up, let's talk about the ROG Ally's rumored price point. Now, these leaks occurred late Thursday and early Friday, and the first thing we're going to talk about is the details coming from Snoopy Tech, who's a Twitter user who has a pretty decent track record when it comes to these kind of leaks. While official reports have placed the price of the Ally under $1,000, Snoopy's leaks have put a real number on things. $599 for the Z1 powered based model and 256 gigabytes of internal storage. There's also been reports of a leaked Best Buy product page detailing a $699 price point for the Z1 Extreme and 512 gigabytes of storage. Now, honestly, these seem like impossibly low price points for ASUS to pull off on their own. And the question is, if these are true, how? After all, we know for a fact that Valve is losing money on every 64 gigabyte Steam Deck, and we believe that the same is true for the 512 gigabyte model if they're not just breaking even. The reason that Valve can afford to lose money on these two models of the Steam Deck is because they own the default storefront, and they make money from every game sold through Steam. So the game sales subsidize the cost of the Steam Deck just like they do on consoles. But ASUS doesn't have a stake in Windows or Valve or Epic, and it's reasonable to assume that they don't make any money off of the games being sold through their hardware. That means that unlike Valve, ASUS needs to make a profit from every unit sold because they can't expect to make it up later with game sales. Enter Microsoft. As my friend Jackson and I discussed on our podcast Press Steam to Start, AMD's Z1 announcement might offer a clue. It mentions PC Game Pass and it quotes the head of Xbox hardware. Could it be that Moneybag Microsoft might be footing some of the bill here? Not only that, as I reported on Friday's Steam Deck news, we've seen photos circulating of a newly redesigned Steam Deck cooler and mainboard. In the breakdown that I did, I noted the significantly smaller heat pipe in the new design, and that got me thinking, what if this is actually a cost-cutting measure to enable a lower price for the Steam Deck? It would be smart for Valve to lower the price of each model, especially to compete with the likes of the Ally. So the question is, what if Valve drops the 64 gigabyte model down to $350? And the 256 gig to $450 and the 512 to $550. They could afford to do it, and doing that would actually keep the deck quite competitive. And while many outlets use clickbaity titles like, "Look out Steam Deck, the Ally's only $699, I'm still highly skeptical that it will be a true Steam Deck competitor. I will admit it though, a majority of my skepticism of the Ally was my belief that ASUS would never be able to come close to the leaked price points that have been reported here. I thought that the base model would come in at around $700, maybe $800, and anything above that would be even more. But even if they're able to achieve the leaked price points here, whether it's a subsidy from Microsoft or Epic or whoever, it still leaves three other major factors that I think render the Ally dead on arrival, at least for me. Number one, the controls and the ergonomics. I mean, judging from the renders we've seen, I have serious concerns about how the Ally will feel in the hand. I don't understand why so many devices try to be so flat. I mean, the 3DS, the Switch, the Neo, and the GPD Win devices, they just don't have that ergonomic feel that makes it comfortable to hold. The Ally tries to split the difference and offers some grips, but nowhere near as pronounced as what the Steam Deck has. But I'm worried that it's still not going to be enough. I mean, the deck is designed to perfectly fit in my hand. It offers a superb ergonomic experience, at least for me. I'm worried that the Ally is not going to provide the same level of comfort, especially with the offset Xbox-style thumbstick layout. And furthermore, the lack of any trackpads is a non-starter for me. The trackpads are a critical aspect of gaming on the deck. I've grown accustomed to configuring each pad to act as a virtual menu or as a mouse, and the Ally launch event announcement uses the hashtag #PlayAllYourGames, when the setup of the controls specifically prohibit mouse-intensive game setups, at least if you want any level of precision. With the Steam Deck, there's infinite customization that simply doesn't exist on the Ally. It's also missing gyro control, and the D-pad looks like an abomination straight from the depths of hell, so that also is a non-starter for me. Number 2, the battery life. Now, the Ally has a 1080p 144Hz screen and reportedly double the performance of the Steam Deck. That all sounds great until you get it in your hands and you only get to play for 40 or so minutes on battery power. To be fair, I don't take my Steam Deck out in public and play it. I use my Steam Deck on the sofa where I have immediate access to a power source readily available if I need it. And if that's how most people play their Ally, then this might not be an issue. But I want to note that I don't keep my deck charging 24/7. So how will the Ally fare in the battery life department? I'm guessing that if you don't mind compromising all of the aforementioned metrics, then you'll have a comparable experience to the deck. But the bigger number better crowd, the folks who will buy into the hype and pick one of these up day one, well, they don't really know the meaning of the word compromise. I'm really interested to see how all of this shakes out, but I don't expect battery life to be very good, especially when the Ally's in double the performance mode. Finally, we get to number 3, Windows. While I could go off on yet another diatribe about how bad Windows is for your privacy or your digital well-being, I'll spare you that today. No, I just want to touch on all of the things that SteamOS does better than Windows when it comes to the handheld gaming experience, and I'll just run through this list real quick. SteamOS has better first-party support from the hardware vendor. SteamOS is more optimized for games with less overhead and better performance for compatible titles. SteamOS has console-like sleep and wake so that you can pick up and put down your games at a moment's notice. SteamOS provides a more open ecosystem with community-made mods specifically for the hardware. And finally, SteamOS has a better virtual keyboard and better UI in general, especially in game mode, but also in desktop mode. With all that said, I don't think that you can reasonably call a handheld PC that ships with stock Windows a gaming device. It's a PC that you can kind of game on. Well, that went on for a lot longer than I thought it would. I would love to hear your thoughts about the Ally. Leave me a comment below. And while you're down there, let me ask you a question. Why not like that smash button? It's the best way to tell YouTube that you want to see more videos just like this one. I have new content here every Monday, Friday, and Sunday, so make sure you get subscribed so that you don't miss that. I want to extend a special thank you to Dan Henschel for his continued support of the show. It's because of the continued generosity of folks like Dan and the 73 other members that I'm able to continue making videos just like this one. You can pledge your support with the links below, and thank you. Alright, next up, let's talk about the new Steam Desktop Beta UI. Now this is something that I predicted many moons ago in my video with Nick, Liam, and Jason. I said that I thought a full desktop Steam refresh was coming, and we're finally starting to see that here. Now this is a massive upgrade, not only for the desktop client's look and feel, but also the in-game overlay and the Steam ecosystem at large. If you're old enough to remember the original release of Steam's Big Picture mode, it was heralded as a new era for PC gaming, especially in the living room. And while Valve had lofty expectations, the reality was Big Picture mode rarely saw updates, and even when it did, features were rolled out to Big Picture mode months after they landed in the desktop client. This was less than ideal, and it's why Valve has been working so hard for so long to unify the desktop, VR, and Big Picture mode experience to share common elements and reuse code as much as possible. And we're finally seeing all of that effort pay off here. I think the most clear example is the desktop settings. We see a UI that is incredibly similar to big picture mode settings menu. It's using the same buttons and switches, range sliders and other inputs, alongside the same fonts and icons with the same kind of layout. And let me tell you that it's not just my UI designer instincts that thinks this is terrific. This is a real renaissance for Steam. It means that when features get implemented for desktop, they can easily be translated to big picture mode and to VR. And while it has been a long time since I've personally used the desktop overlay, this new update delivers some excellent features. Along the bottom of the overlay is the new menu bar. The first item is game info, which shows you details about the game you're currently playing. Then there's achievements, which it's interesting to note shares the same achievements menu as the deck. Then there's notes, which offers a game-specific collection of details that you can create for yourself. You can add new notes to store details about the game that you're playing and more, and this is incredibly useful. I can't wait to see this feature appear on the deck. Continuing through the menu bar, we have other options here. We have guides, discussions, workshop, screenshots, friends, web browser, which is a full web browser here, soundtrack player, we have controller settings, and Steam settings. While these are all fairly self-explanatory, the fact that they're so much more accessible now with the new overlay, and it's all conveniently laid out, has me excited for the future of Steam. Wow, the gaming space here has been moving so quickly, and news breaks, it seems, every single day. I am super here for it. If you are too, make sure you get subscribed to stay up to date with all the latest news. I think that's going to do it for now, though. I want to say thank you to everybody over here who makes what I do a reality. It's because of these folks that I'm able to keep the lights on, so thank you. If you believe in the work that I'm doing and you want to support the show, you can use the links below to become a patron, a YouTube member, or a ViewSync Premium subscriber. It's all greatly appreciated. That's going to do it for now, though. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.